Yo, keep the faith, never lose hope. What's on? Wait, step you up. Okay. What's on, faithfuls? And we're live on all major platforms: YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. And we're back with a fun-filled episode of the Red and Gold 24/7. All right. And of course, yes, we do have a special guest. All right. And let me see here. Trust me, it's not him. Sorry, Drew. We do have a special guest all the way over in MBN. And of course, Tony.
What's up? What's going on, fellas? What's going on?
And of course, you got Mike, Maverick, and Drew.
Hello, hello,
fellas.
hello,
What's going
hello.
on?
Put you back on my headphones. That way we're all good to go. Once I get in there. Okay. All right. I got you. All right. Now you're back. All right. Cool. Now it sounds better. Okay. Let me see here. I'm going to set you guys up. I'm going to start with, I guess you guys want to talk about the Jimmy G shit, right?
No, look at the name. No.
Not till he is traded.
Yeah, I know. I got you. I got plenty
At
of
3
links
a.m. because Mike said so.
I got you.
That's fine. I'll be
Nah,
up. It'll be midnight my time.
I got a question. I didn't
Yeah,
really
yeah.
see who sent it earlier through the text message, but who said something about they don't want him to be cut nor released? And through the text message earlier, somebody said something like that. They didn't want him.
That's me. That is me.
That was you. Why you said that?
I want to get something for him. If we just cut him, the whole experiment of last year was a complete waste. We need to get something back for him, and we will. We just got to stay patient. Cutting him does us no good besides the cap space. Like, we got to get some draft picks back for him. And
I mean,
today's
just
quarterback,
get it.
and in the
Okay,
quarterback
sorry.
market that we are currently in, we're going to get something for him. Teams are desperate. There's more starting quarterback positions than there are starting quarterbacks right now. I mean, the Trubisky thing speaks volumes about the situation right now of teams needing a starting quarterback.
Yeah, just
I
talking
mean,
about Jimmy
personally,
G.
me.
Go ahead, I'll bring it up. I'll just bring it up. Go ahead. You guys talk. Go ahead. I got you.
Now, I was just going to say, like, personally, for me, we're not getting that first. That
We're
we
not
were
getting a
searching
first.
for to
We're
begin
not
with.
going to get a first.
So-
I agree, but I believe we're getting a second.
So therefore, to me, the whole experiment has been a flop just because we're not getting what we wanted to begin with in the first place. So just getting anything at this point is like, okay, you know what? I'm just buying low. I'm going ahead. I'm selling low. Just take him off for me.
I see that point, but I still think we got to get something for him. Just not cut the guy free.
The 49ers' current asking price for Jimmy Garoppolo is set at two second round picks. Once Watson makes his intent known of where he wants to play, is a fast move. It'll be a fast move. The Niners are not cutting Garoppolo. He has market. Oh boy, I'm so sick of talking about this guy, but
It's coming to an end.
I know, Mike. Thank you, man. Thank you. I know.
Is it fair to say that Kirk Cousins and Brian Hoyer are like two of the quarterbacks in the league that knows how to get that bag and don't do nothing for neither team?
I think it's ridiculous. Kirk Cousins is made over $232 million in his career for being an above average quarterback.
Dude, and he's getting $40 million next year.
It's insane. He's on the level of Jimmy G. I'm sorry, he is. And Jimmy's actually had more success than him. So I don't get why the Vikings keep paying him. It's a detriment to their team. He's not going to get them to a Super Bowl this year.
It really killed my whole entire scenario of Deshaun Watson going there. Because I mean, if you can give Kirk Cousins $40 million, you telling me straight up that you could have covered Deshaun Watson's salary for the next couple of years.
It just shows how desperate teams are right now. They're scared of losing any quarterback that has an inch of talent. I mean, look at the backups, what they're getting paid. I mean, what Colt McCoy got a contract today? Like, it's just sad. These teams are just protecting quarterbacks at every cost.
I mean, even the Cleveland Browns right now are talking about they still in the Watson trade market. They're willing to give up Baker Mayfield.
I would too. Mayfield's trash.
I didn't want to talk about Tony. I didn't want to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. I didn't want to talk about him. But you want to say something about this or no?
Yeah, I mean, I just think the league knows in the predicament that the Niners are in right now. They know they can't keep him. They're over the cap. They also know that the 49ers clearly want to move on from him. So the Niners are in a bit of a jam right now because they have until, I think, 4 o'clock on Wednesday to be under the cap, which they're almost 10 million over right now. And they might be forced to cut him if they want to try to do anything in free agency. I know they can move deals and flip money around. I know that, but I would do that with a lot of caution because you can get yourself in trouble down the road financially with the salary cap. I know the cap's supposed to go up and stuff next year. But my main issue is you're not gonna make what they think they can make off of Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not worth it right now because right now it's a bigger issue than any return that they can get possibly back. It's becoming like a distraction. So if they need to move on, you bite the friggin' bullet and you move on and just cut ties with them because you have to worry about reestablishing this roster for 2022 forward. You need to surround him with more weapons. You need to solidify the offensive line. Like Laken Tomlinson's gone. Banks is going to take over the left guard spot. I heard they're still in the market for a right guard to compete with Brunskill. Brunskill's still not under contract. We could talk about this all day. They're in the market for a corner and edge rusher. But right now, again, because of Jimmy Garoppolo, the team's hands are tied. They can't do anything. So from what I heard, a guy that I speak to that is a agent within the metropolitan area of New Jersey, New York, a buddy of mine I work with was very good friends with the former GM, not the one that just got fired, but the one before that. I forgot his damn name. So I made like a relation with those guys. And Jimmy was about to be dealt to the Washington football team for a second-round pick this year and something next year. But he vetoed the trade. So, he still has that option to veto the trade until the 16th. So the Niners either have to legit trade him by 4 o'clock on the 16th and totally – so when that trade veto is up or that trade rights, whatever they call it, and get rid of him at that point, they can't hold him because – they're going to be over the cap and they're not going to be able to do anything. And, it's just sad because it's time to shut the door on Jimmy Garoppolo and move forward with Trey Lance. So, I mean, we'll see what's going to happen. You still got tomorrow and then you got Wednesday. So we'll see.
And we got 3 a.m. because Mike said so. Let's go. I am moving forward to this.
I mean, we all know how the Niners work with their office. Everything stays quiet, and then all of a sudden it's all going to be dumped on us at once. I think tomorrow or Wednesday is going to be the day for the Niners like today was for the Chargers. Just news.
Yeah, today was fully for the Chargers, and they had fun with it.
I think in the next 2 days, we're going to have that same kind of day. We're going to find out Jimmy's gone. We cleared the cap. We signed so-and-so. We're keeping so-and-so.
Okay. I don't know if y'all heard this, and this is off the Jimmy news because I really don't really care about Jimmy. But listen, I just seen that if they're not looking at, with Gilmore, they're talking about just re-signing Josh Norman.
That's not happening. No, that's not happening.
I just seen that on 2 different reports.
Shanahan, you can tell Shanahan has had it with him. When he benched him, that was it. We are not going back to Josh Norman.
No, Norman's not coming back.
Yeah, that I don't know where you saw that. That is.
I go through Google and Yahoo Sports.
To change the subject, on Jimmy G. There you go. Change the subject.
They
on
just
Jimmy
lie to
G.
you.
Already hearing the 49ers are aggressive on cornerback market. They're reaching out to the top guys. San Francisco is over the cap. They have a few salary conversations or reconstructions. That would be exclusive to create space. Oh boy, man. I know we need a couple corners. I know we do. But
Okay, what corners is left after Gilmore? Because everybody else started getting.
I think we're getting Gilmore.
I
Between
mean, you have
us,
Gilmore.
between us and the Jets, if we're giving comparable offers, he's gonna take us all day. He's not even
But
gonna
do
be
y'all
Jets. He's
trust
gonna wanna
that?
go
This is what I was saying in the text. The man's 32. We already went through this
he's
with
still-
Shern.
he's-
We went through this
he's-
with Norm. Is
he's still producing though. He's not a Norman. He's still better than Sherman. He's still producing at that level. I would take him all day.
Yeah, I gotta see it. I ain't gonna lie. This is something I gotta see on the field because I'm looking at it, man. I'm watching these ages, and we just keep. I get it. We need the veterans to help the young ones that's coming up. Like, who said it earlier? I forgot who. I think maybe Ryan said about Ambry Thomas is still, developing, and we can keep him, which he did. He developed game by game, and maybe with help from Gilmore, who knows? It can probably better his game. At
Tony?
the same time,
sorry.
we still you gotta have another side. So if Gilmore don't produce, and who knows with injuries, whatever may happen, you're still looking at age. And I'm like, man, this is kind of scary, risking this again with another veteran.
Tony, you got anything to say on that, bud?
The Niners love having a veteran in the secondary. They did it with Sherman. They did it with Norman. I mean, right now, I was a little bit of a Carlton Davis guy, but I knew J.C. Jackson was totally out of the price range. Davis ended up re-signing in Tampa Bay on a 3-year deal that I think the Niners probably could have went to 5 and stretched some of the money out and made it somewhat slightly affordable for them. I also think that Gilmore gives you the ability to line up across the board. I've seen Gilmore line up in the slot and cover George Kittle one-on-one. So he can give you versatility with Kupp in the slot. I think that would be a pretty damn good matchup, in my opinion. If things don't work with Gilmore, you're looking at Travarius Ward from Kansas City, DJ Reed, the former 49er from the Seahawks, Casey Hayward, who's with the Las Vegas Raiders. Those are some of the mid-tier to lower-tier guys that are going to be on the market after Gilmore signs if he doesn't sign with the Niners. So I definitely do think they add a veteran. I also think they could double down on the corner and bring in a new slot guy because I think K'Wan Williams is going to end up with the Jets with Tart. There's options. There's options out there for them, but, I'm starting to get the odd sense that the reason that the 49ers are having trouble closing deals or finishing deals with these players is the way Parag Marathe constructs the contract. They protect themselves a lot. They have the opt-outs after 2 years. They have an opt-out after 3 years. They'll front load the shit out of the contract and leave nothing on the back end. Perfect example, Jimmy Garoppolo. That's why they never wanted to restructure his deal, because last year and this year, there was only $1.5 million on that was guaranteed. They could have cut him last year and walked away from him. They could have traded him. They could have done whatever the hell they wanted, and they only would have been responsible for $1.5 million. Same thing this year, same thing next year. So, no, just this year. This is last year. So, it's maybe their theory in writing the contract could be biting them in the ass right now. But, hopefully tomorrow's a new day. And they come out. They come out with a game plan. They move on from Jimmy, whether it's a cut or it's a trade. They start adding pieces to the roster. Like I personally, before free agency started, I knew DJ Jones is probably going to be gone. And the way that these defensive tackles are signing these contracts, it's more than likely he's going to be gone. I knew Tomlinson wasn't going to be there because the guard market went through the roof. So those are two areas that the 49ers couldn't afford. Well, at least one definitely. DJ Jones is still on the market, but I think he's going to wind up with a decent payday. But like, I'm dying to see what Sheriff got from Jacksonville. I have a feeling he's pushing 15 plus as a guard, and that's just, I can't see paying the only guard I would consider paying $12 million to was Steve Hutchinson when he went from Seattle to Minnesota. Steve Hutchinson is probably one of the best guards I ever seen play, but it's tough. They can't do a damn thing because of this freaking contract. So hopefully we get some good news tomorrow. They pull the trigger on a deal and they start, retooling this roster for 2022.
Hey, Tony, I didn't want to cut you off.
Be good.
I had another special guest coming in. So from the locker room rant, I'm very happy to have him back here. You know what I'm talking about. John Z.
Oh,
what's up, man?
What's up, John?
You're mute.
Son
There you
of a
go. There you
bitch.
go.
Tony, what's happening? Mike, how you doing?
John.
Mav, how you
Good,
doing?
how are you?
Fire Jimmy, good to see you, fam.
Fine.
What's good?
Drew.
So I've been listening.
Hey.
Yeah, I've been listening. So, how's everybody doing? This Jimmy stuff, fellas. I've been taking a long break from football, free agency. I'm watching, but I am not doing shows. I'm beyond stressed out. I thought Jimmy would have been dealt by now. I'm not surprised. I'm going to put my 2 cents in real quick. I'm not surprised that we're not making waves right now. We don't do that typically, but especially now with five very high value contracts, I don't see us making big moves, right? I mean, I think we might make a big move on a corner, but I mean, what do you guys expect us to do for the most part? I know a lot of the fan base isn't really taking into consideration that we pay Trent, we pay Kittle, we have to pay Debo, we have to pay Bosa. I think the proof is in the pudding, right? I mean, how many teams have this many high valued contracts on their roster right now?
Not a lot. I don't think any.
Right. And I mean, how many is too many, Tony? I think you and I spoke about this months back. I think you even warned against it. You're like, look, we've got to do it, but don't look for anything exponential in the off season.
I think listen, the 49ers have a history of spending, right? Early. They did it in year one when Kyle and John took over. They went out and I think they signed 10 people, but they did what Jacksonville did today. They had an abundance of cap space. They signed Juice, Logan Paulson, Brandon Hoyer. They signed all these people, Pierre Garçon, Malcolm Smith, all these people. They went out and had a frenzy. The next year, they didn't spend that. They went out and spent on McKinnon and Richburg. All day one, day two signings. The third year after that, what did they do? They go out and get Quan Alexander and D Ford. All day one, day two spent. Last year, I think they jumped out and got Alex Mack pretty quick. They signed Trent Sherfield right away. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I can't remember. There might have been one solid person, nothing crazy. But I think if and John, you know this, I beat it to like a pulp, like a dead horse. If Jimmy was not here right now, we would not be having discussion. They would have went out and added their top piece to the puzzle, whether it was a corner, whatever they wanted to do, they would have done it. And then they would have added their mid-tier pieces in to fill the roster. So, like, they probably would have jumped out and nailed the corner right away. And for Matt Maiocco to come out and say that, he came out like 10 minutes into the tampering period and said the 49ers are aggressively pursuing the top corners. Now, For him to say that, he's the mouth of the 49ers. He speaks for the organization. So they definitely reached out. They probably got turned away by the kid from the Patriots, Jackson, because his price tag was high. I think if they really wanted to, they could have tried to make a run, a little bit stronger of a run with Carlton Davis from the Tampa Bay. I said it just before you came on. They have a 3-year deal. The Niners probably could have went 5 and stretched the money out. You have Gilmore. You have now behind Gilmore, you're going to have the Travarius West, the Dave Reed, the Casey Haywards, all names that have been thrown around. I think they look at somebody like Bryce Callahan for a slot corner if K'Wan Williams decides to go to the Jets. You know, they have no ability to maneuver right now. And I don't think they just want to. I don't think they want to take $20 million that's allocated for Eric Armstead, push it down the road. So they have to be, aggressively.
Hold on, baby.
But they have to be wise with what they're doing.
How about Fuller? You think your price tag on him is high? I know he left Chicago and went to Denver.
Kyle Fuller?
Kyle Fuller.
Yeah, they can bring him in. I think he'll be anywhere between the 3 to 5 million range. I think maybe a little more, maybe tops 8 million. You could probably get him in with, but they're looking at like a Marquez Valdez-Scantling, which I think could be a nice addition to the offense because it's that deep threat. He's 6'4". He's got 4.36, 4.37 speed. He can take the top off the defense, something that they've been lacking. I mean, Travis Benjamin was useless in my opinion last year. He has a little bit more he offers you in the offense, but I think they were smart. The first thing they came out and did, they identified 3 guys that'll upgrade their special teams, speed guys that can return kicks, return punts, that are threats with speed. They haven't signed anybody yet, but it doesn't mean that they're aggressively pushing these people and they're just waiting until that Jimmy contract comes off the books and then they can just pull the trigger. But they can't do shit until Jimmy is off the books. And until that happens, we could talk about all these different strategies. It doesn't mean shit because their hands are tied. They were tied all season as an offense, and now they're tied in the friggin' offseason.
You said that Jimmy put a stop to the Washington trade.
I heard that, yes.
I heard that too.
I was going to say, if you're getting a second offer and you didn't, if Jimmy got in the way of that, because evidently he has a say-so, right? I mean, Jimmy, where does Jimmy want to be? Jimmy want to be in Indy?
Well,
Jimmy said he'd go to the Colts or Saints.
Here's the thing, and I've said this the minute they announced this. Now, let's take it back a little bit, right, to the season. Torn ligaments, broke a bone fracture in his throwing hand, thumb. Kyle Shanahan said it was a sprain. Don Yee comes out and says he needs surgery. It's a torn ligament. It's all this. Whatever. Then he jams his throwing shoulder. Oh, the shoulder's fine, but he's going to need surgery on the thumb. First day of the combine where it's the tamper, you could tamper and negotiate behind the scenes, nothing official. Don Yee and his Garoppolo's team announced that he's having surgery on the first day of the combine. If you don't think that's Don Yee trying to screw the Niners, you have another thing coming because that's what this is about. He wants the ability to pick where Jimmy wants to go, and he wants to be able to structure a contract as a free agent rather than a trade. He don't want the Niners to get shit for Jimmy Garoppolo. He's done with the Niners. This is what someone told me, and this is the way I see it. All right? Because now let me ask you something. What happened to the thumb? The thumb's fine, miraculously healed. It's perfectly fine. And it happened last year, if you remember correctly, going into Arizona when we were thrown out of Santa Clara. He was practicing in Arizona, but he didn't play in any games. Why was he practicing? Why? Because he was advised by his agent not to participate because the season was over and he didn't want to hurt himself anymore. But now on the year where he knows 100% he is not a 49er after this season because they made that trade. Oh, my shoulder's fine. I want to play. Oh, my thumb is fine. I want to play. Now you want to get surgery? Like, come on. Like, this was a business move.
I don't see you making a big deal about the thumb on top of the surgery. Once you announce surgery, you don't want to pile injury on top of injury, right? So you don't want to be like, yo, now, I got to get surgery. You don't want to mention your bum thumb in the same discussion with off-season surgery. You know what I'm saying? Because that's going to make things more difficult if the surgery hasn't already, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to rule out that the thumb isn't still an issue. The thumb probably is an issue. It's just going to take the back seat to the shoulder surgery, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not going to, and don't think for 1 second that teams aren't questioning the thumb. I mean, that's you. I mean, if you're considering it, Tony, then you mean to tell me Pittsburgh's not considering it? The New Orleans Saints aren't considering it? Indy's not considering it? Everyone's still curious about that thumb, but there's not a mention anywhere about the thumb. Nowhere.
And I find that very concerning, very, very shady, if you will. Now, like, if you're the 49ers and you're John Lynch and you're Kyle Shanahan, you're trying to get something back, right? You want to try to recoup something from what you laid out to get Trey Lance, right? You invested money in Jimmy Garoppolo. He was on your team. Yes, he's got a winning record, and he's winning this, and he's been to the Super Bowl, 2 NFC championship games. That's fine, but he disappeared in all the playoff games. That's fine. How do you explain to me that Mitchell Trubisky got a starting job over Jimmy Garoppolo? Please explain it.
He's young. He's athletic. He's mobile.
Steelers just think he's better.
There's no explanation. There's none. Jimmy Garoppolo, as bad as he is a better quarterback than Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky was on the bench last year. He got put into a game in a blowout, and he couldn't hit the side of a freaking barn. He's not a good quarterback. This was the knock on him coming out. He's a mobile quarterback. Yes, he could run. Granted, that's great. That's very good for him. But what got Mitchell Trubisky the starting job of the Pittsburgh Steelers is what transpired on the first day of the combine. The announcement of Jimmy having shoulder surgery to his throwing arm blew any trade value that the Niners tried to get. Like I said, the only reason why Washington allegedly offered a 2 for Jimmy Garoppolo is because let's take it back to last season where Holmes from the LA Rams, who got hired by Detroit, traded for Goff and took on the contract, took on draft picks, but traded for a player who he knew. So that's what Martin Mayhew was going to do until Jimmy said, no, I'm not interested. In one aspect of it, we're playing for Dan Snyder is probably a nightmare, so I can't really blame him 100%. But still, again, Jimmy's decision screwed the Niners again. So
does it give us the upper hand though? No one on this table right now, not a single person on the panel thought that Jimmy was valued at a 2. I mean, I sure as shit didn't think we'd get a 2 for Jimmy.
Oh no.
I thought maybe a 4. Okay. But I never thought a 2. I never thought we'd get a 2 for Jimmy.
I think the reason why they got the 2 was because of Mayhew.
Okay.
To seal the deal, to secure him, to get him there. I think he probably can fetch you a 3. A low 3, a comp 3, and in the latter part, a high 4, if you will. Or even if it's a low 2, like you're picking, the 31st or 32nd pick in the second round, essentially it's the top pick in the third round, if you want to look at it that way. I don't think he can fetch a top 5 second round pick. That's just my opinion. I don't.
Where was Washington with that second pick? Just
42.
So it's a low 2.
It's a mid. It's mid round 2.
I mean, are you guys concerned that Jimmy won't fetch us anything above a 4 now? Do you think Indy's going to offer a 3, mid or low?
I've been agreeing with Ryan when Ryan said 7. So I don't think it's going to be anything high. I'm sorry, I don't see it. I don't see it coming out.
Realistically, though.
I don't know.
Be honest.
I don't know. I can't. I don't.
There's
know.
not
I
two
don't know.
second rounds. There's not
Listen.
two second rounds like they wanted.
I can tell you this right now.
Well,
The Colts could have the compensation agreed to, and they're working on an extension with Jimmy, and they're going to announce it tomorrow. I don't think that. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but how fast Pittsburgh jumped on Trubisky, that makes me lead that they're potentially the deal is rounding out for the Colts. That's my only. I mean, hope.
From what
It's
I
not
read-
logic. I'm saying hope.
from what I read, the deal was 2 2s and a 3, but potentially 8-2. So 3 together for Jimmy. That's what they're asking for.
Yeah, Jimmy's not worth 2 picks and 2 coupons from Subway at this point. So Jimmy is worth a mid round 4. I would say a high 4 to mid 4, and that's what you're going to get for Jimmy. Where no one's going to pair up 2 2s. I've seen some reports too, man. I think it's just a bunch of smoke. You know, I mean,
Jimmy, he's been blessed enough to be part of 2 great organizations.
You're very choppy there,
He does
Mav.
not want to.
You're very choppy, bud. Just
All
so
right,
you know.
He
I
does
got-
not want to go. He does
Oh,
not
I'm
want to go
sorry.
somewhere.
I just got a DJ Jones is now a Denver Bronco. They signed him to a 3-year, $30 million deal with $20 million fully guaranteed. So another one scratched off the list. So now the Niners could be in the market for a mid-tier defensive tackle for depth. So clearly something is not something. It's one or two things. There's really a big issue with Jimmy, or they're going to go big and bring somebody that's going to be costly. And Jimmy's gone. So, I mean, they already let
Brady.
That's
No.
that's what I'm about to say to you, Tony. Who you think it might be? That
I
big
don't.
one.
I don't think it's. I think it's going to be a corner. I think they could be going big on a corner. I don't know what to think with this team anymore. Maybe they bring in. Maybe they bring in a safety. I don't know. This team is probably the most toughest team to like friggin' try to dissect and analyze and figure out because they're so damn tight-lipped. It's so opposite of the way they used to be. So
Bouye was released today too, right?
Bouye, yeah, he was released, but I can't see him coming in as anything more than just like a camp body competing for a roster spot. I am not willing to give him the start over Ambry Thomas at all. I'd rather let Ambry Thomas roll and develop. But if you're talking about a Gilmore, if you're talking about a potentially, you know, the kid Ward from Kansas City, Casey Hayward, like if you're talking that tier, I could see them pulling the trigger on that type of player, bringing them in, and, you know, just strengthening the secondary. Because face it, injuries are known to happen in this league and with this team. So you want the depth. You want the depth in the secondary. And you could potentially have a hole at the safety position. You got Travarius Moore coming back, who's coming off an Achilles tendon. Does he still have his speed? Does he still have his agility and mobility? You have Hufanga, who's not a speed demon, who's more of an instincts player, high IQ. So, you know, do they throw a couple bucks at maybe Tyrone Mathieu from the Chiefs? Do they try to get him in, Matthew?
He's signing with the Raiders, I heard. Excuse me,
Or-
I joined late.
That's not a that's a fake account. Don't that guy who tweeted the
No, I heard they were pursuing.
There's 2
after him, that's
available
what I heard.
corners behind Gilmore or DJ Reed and Darius Williams.
Yeah, I mean, there's people out there. The top guys are pretty much coming off the board. But guys, listen, they could have something up their sleeve with like a Chandler Jones that we don't know about.
That's
They
what I'm
could be in the
thinking.
market for an edge rusher to pair up with a Nick Bosa. You know, you got to think of the mentality of John Lynch. They like building the trenches first and working out.
Oh yeah, 100.
So
Yep.
you build that, you add depth to it, and it helps your secondary. But I do think they will add another corner. What tier player, I don't know. I do think they will add a safety if Tart does leave. I do think they bring in a right tackle to compete with McGlinchey, or if they bring in Compton and he competes for the right guard spot. A name that I heard a couple times is Morgan Moses or Moses Morgan, whatever the frig his name is. He played for Washington with Forrester. He was with the Jets last year, so he understands the basic verbiage and blocking of the scheme that they're implementing in San Francisco. You know, this team, there are going to be more players on this team. There's going to be a different look to this team, and they're going to have a different identity on the offensive side of the ball too, because of the addition of Anthony Lynn. You're going to see more versatile offense. You're going to see not just strictly the outside zone. Everyone's obsessed, one cut downhill. You're going to see more of a power scheme, a gap scheme. You're still going to see the outside zone, the inside zone. They're just going to be multi-versatile with this offense, and that's because what Trey Lance gives to what offers to this offense. He's not he could be a pocket quarterback, but he's not going to be the stature that Jimmy Garoppolo was. So, you know, he moves, he can move the pocket. It just gives Kyle so much more to work with. I do think they add another wide receiver. But again, they can't do nothing until they figure this damn situation out with Jimmy Garoppolo. And that's it.
With the addition of Anthony Lynn, do we establish an identity quicker than we did last year? Because we struggled. We struggled right out the gate to establish exactly how we were gonna play with the Ayuk bullshit. I don't know. Do you feel like with the addition of Anthony Lynn, does this team out of the gate establish the identity that they're looking to be? I mean,
I feel with the subtraction of Jimmy Garoppolo and the addition of Trey Lance, they'll be able to create their identity. You can't have an identity when you have a quarterback that does not scare a defense. When you consistently can sit in the middle of the field, take the middle of the field away, and just stack the box with 8-9 guys in the box and have 2-3 guys just lurking, you're never going to gain an identity. So what did the 49ers become? A heavy run team, because they had to pound and pound and pound to get guys out of the box. They had to show that they still could run. And then what happened is once they started hitting those runs 10, 12 yards down the field with Mitchell, you could throw a quick slant. You could throw a shallow cross or an intermediate cross, never outside the numbers, but you could attack the field within the hash marks of the field inside the numbers. So now you have a quarterback that can move right to left. He could throw outside the numbers, inside the numbers, deep quarter, deep third, deep center field. You have to defend this team totally different, and that's why I think the Niners have a significant advantage coming into the season, because there's no real film on how to defend this team. Because what did Kyle do? He started him versus Arizona. He ran the ball with him. They threw the quick passes, got the ball out of his hands quick. They stuck with the run game. Then they played the Texans, and they let him air the ball out a little bit. If you think that's all you're going to see in 2022, you're crazy. You're going to see a totally wide open attack. And it's not going to just be passing. It's going to be fully balanced. You're going to see principles of the Atlanta Falcon offense with the way they run their passing concepts downfield. You know, you have the deep crosser. You have a post route, a go route. You're just going to have to cover the field. You're going to have to legit cover the whole damn field with this team. So, you know, I do think they're going to add the pieces, but Jimmy needs to get the hell off this roster, and they need to close the door. It's not about doing the right thing right now, right? Everyone says NFL is a business. Well, guess what? This is a business decision, and you need to make the decision. And by Don Yee dropping that bomb on that combine, this is going to get his way, because the 49ers, because of that, are probably going to be forced to cut him. And once that happens, then Don Yee's like, all right, it's all right, Jimmy. You only had 1.95 guaranteed this year. I'll get you at least 15 million guaranteed over 2 years. So you're going to make money in abundance. We'll put some incentives in there. If you start X amount of games, if you win X amount of games, if you throw X amount of games, you're going to make the money. We're going to do an incentive deal. And, you know, it's a gamble, right? You throw incentives in, you're gambling on yourself.
I think it's hard for Indy to even commit. I mean, you just listed off 1 through 10 everything that Jimmy can't do. Indy knows that. How can we poise ourselves to be comfortable knowing that everybody knows that Jimmy's limited? What, they're going to dink and dunk the entire season?
What Indianapolis loves is a quarterback who gets the ball out of their hands quick, and they have an excellent run game with a good, young, up-and-coming defense. And that's the perfect situation for Jimmy Garoppolo, right? You stick to the construction of the confine of the principles of your offense. You don't go out of it. You play within it. If you convert on third down, good. You keep moving the ball. If you don't, let the defense make a play.
Right. I got you.
Yeah, Tony. I know it's 10 o'clock. You good still, or you got to go?
Yeah, I can go for a couple more minutes.
Okay, no problem. Then just do your thing. All right. I know, John, you wanted to say something. Sorry, man. Go ahead, bud. Sorry.
No, I'm just brainstorming. I mean, Tony's right. We're handcuffed. We're handcuffed to the radiator right now, man. I mean, not a damn thing we can do until Jimmy's gone. But I mean, what's left? Niner fans have speculated season in, season out, right? That's all we can do. But he mentioned Chandler Jones, and I'm thinking to myself, like, do I hinge my secondary again on young talent and JV? Do we hinge the secondary on the back of JV one more season? Do we go Chandler Jones and go lesser in the secondary and develop Ambry Thomas? I don't know, man. I think I'm more interested in the line than the secondary. I just don't feel comfortable with JV back there one more year.
John, let me ask you a question, right? If I say we have a deal lined up to the Colts, a third round pick this year, a conditional second round next year, just hypothetically, right? That's the deal. We pulled the trigger. $25 million comes off the books. So they're what? Let's just say hypothetically they're $10 million over. They're at $15 million. They restructure. They extend Jimmy Ward, who they have wiggle room with because they put voidable years on his deal so they can stretch out money. They lower his cap number from $12 million. They prorate it to a signing bonus. They drop it down to $2 million. So you have $10 million added to the 15. So you're at $25 million. You go to Ebucom and you say, listen, I got to lower your $8 million to $2 million, and we'll give you a 2-year extension on the back end with a voidable year. And now, before you know it, you're at $30 million. Right? If I say we can go out right now, I could go sign. I think Gilmore is probably going to be $10 to $11 million. Shit. Let's say they go after the kid Ward from Kansas City. Or who would you rather have? You name the corner.
I think I like Kyle Fuller, but
Right.
only because I watched a handful of Chicago games, and Fuller was a great. He was impressive, and when they were leading the league in takeaways, Kyle Fuller had a hand. We don't have a ball hawk.
All right, that's fine. So we'll sign Kyle Fuller to a 2-year, $16 million, $10 million fully guaranteed. Right? So his cap figure, we'll say, is $6 million in this year. So you take $6 million off of $30 million, you're at $24 million. And now you could throw Chandler Jones $12 million. So you added a corner. You're adding another edge guy. You're adding depth to your defensive line. You could still go out and sign a right tackle. The guy Moses last year signed for, I think, $2 million. You give him $4 million this year with incentive base. You add. The next thing you know, you have you address your needs, and you still have cap space. But the whole thing is to get the big chunk out is you got to get rid of Jimmy. That's what this comes down to. And until they do it, the Niners are screwed.
I mean, there's no chance that they roll into 2022 with Jimmy, right? You're not rolling into this season.
No way.
I mean, you're not doing that, right? So, I mean, someone's taking Jimmy away from us. The dead cap money is what with the injury? What is it like 1.4? And
no, that's his only guaranteed part of his salary. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, if they cut him, and he can't pass a physical for the new team, he's on. If they cut him and he fails a physical when they cut him, they owe him $7.5 million. But the minute he signs with a new team, he's got to pay that back to the Niners. So it's coming right back. It's just a.
Yeah. And this, my friend, is why he is nicknamed the resident GM.
Resident with GM. I know.
This is it. The number genius right here. You guys.
I've been watching Tony ever since early days in NBN, man.
Oh,
I love Tony. I do. I'm so proud to have him on here.
But Tony, that's great. So do you see Jimmy Ward restructuring?
Yeah, it's not going to be restructured. It's going to be extension.
Or an extension.
It's going to be an extension because I think the Niners could technically move on from him at the end of this year. So if they extend him, they give him more money out. He'll be locked under a contract with the Niners. So, yeah, I think they could easily extend him. Like, the Niners have two bad contracts right now on their roster, and it's biting them in the ass. Number one is Mike McGlinchey. Number two, it's Dee Ford. And the reason why I say Mike McGlinchey is because he suffered a torn quad completely off the bone. The guy is 6'8". He's consistently squatting in a squat position, and that is a significant injury to come back from at a man of that stature and plays that type of position in football. It's constant pressure on the quad and the hamstring. So if you notice, you've heard zip about his recovery. You heard nothing about it. So now
I hear it's actually a career ending. It's typically a career ending injury for a man of that stature.
So now they picked up his 5th-year option. It's fully guaranteed. It's a flat $10.8 million cap hit. So they can't cut him. So what do you do with him? Like, they're screwed with that. And then you look at Dee Ford. Dee Ford played in 2 games last year. He's still on the books this year. I personally think once June 1 comes, he's out. He's done. He cannot play football with that type of injury. And, he last year, I got treated. They did a procedure. They gave me shots. They did therapy. I'm great. You lasted 2 games. Give it up. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but you have a serious neck injury that you could potentially be in trouble with if you get hit the wrong way. And it's the same reason why Joe Staley stepped away from the game. He had a serious neck injury. So you made money hand over fist. It's time to retire. Let them clear some money up. If McGlinchey retires, they could flip his contract the way they did with Weston Richburg when he retired, and they could stretch it out. The Niners will have $2 million dead cap for probably the next 3 years, 4 years on it. And they could just stretch it out and create more space this year. And then in 2023, the cap's supposed to explode because of the Amazon deal and all that stuff. So they're going to be in a better position next year. It's just last year and this year, it was tough because the increase of the caps were minimal. So they had to maneuver all this money. And that's another thing. Like past practice, the 49ers never hit on draft picks. So they were never able to extend players because they always missed. So that's why they always had an abundance of cap space. And they didn't have to worry about signing 5-year extensions. Like, look at this roster, right? We did this exercise the other day on Nothing But Niners. You have the top paid left tackle. Granted, he was traded he wasn't drafted by the Niners, but it was a contract given by the Niners. So I'm going to count that. You have the top paid left tackle, top paid fullback, one of the top paid middle linebackers. why am I drawing a blank? You're going to have Debo Samuel. You're going to have Bosa coming up. And there's like two more guys. I just can't think of who it is.
We got Kittle.
That's another one. You have all these players tying your cap up with Eric Armstead with significant numbers because the Niners are hitting on their draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in this predicament, you need to be strategically in how you create your salary, your structure of your salary cap, right? Everyone says, well, how the hell do the friggin' Rams do it? They're so top heavy. They got a high paid this, high paid that. And they keep adding all these players, blah, blah, blah. They don't believe in draft picks, so they trade their draft picks. But if you look at the structure of their deals and their roster, they're top heavy. There's nothing in the middle, and then they're just crap on the bottom, right? The Niners have guys anywhere between the $6 to $10 million cap range in the middle. So you're a high class, you're middle class, and then you're lower class. Where the Niners have players at all three levels, where the Rams just have high class and low class. There's no middle class for the Rams. That's how they're able to maneuver and get these deals done because they don't have to worry about paying an Ebukam this year $8 million. They don't have to worry about paying a Kyle Juszczyk $8 million. It's either you're all in or you're bottom of the barrel. So the Niners go about it different in the way they structure deals. So, each team has their philosophy and how they want to build rosters. I'm not here to question it, but if they didn't invest heavily in their middle class, the Niners might be able to bring more people in, but there would be a big significant drop off in their depth.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we're in an NFC championship. We were down a year. We were a Super Bowl. We went to a Super Bowl. We were down a year. We're back in an NFC championship. You know what I mean? We developed from within, and it extends the quality of play for the future. I love our philosophy. I think it works for us. This is what a prime organization with 5 Super Bowls. This is how you contend for future. This is what you do, and I love it. I think it's a great philosophy. I just think that we just have a lot of top end contracts. And I don't think it'll hurt us. I know a lot of folks are concerned, but I don't think it hurts us, right? If they thought it was going to hurt them, they would have never done it. Parag is good at what he does. He's not stupid. He's not going to just be like, all right, well, we're going to get a fullback. Nobody has a fullback worth $8 million, but nobody has a fullback that's also as versatile. So, it plays into our scheme.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I guess it's just it's tough for Niner fans right now because we are wondering where the hell is Jimmy gonna go. The sooner he goes, then the doors fall off, man. That's it for us. It is what it is. What do you guys think? Any guys got something to say?
You guys,
I want to talk the whole time.
It's all right. It's all right. Who wants to go first? Go ahead.
Listen, man, I'm listening to both of them, and they just made some valid points. I was like, man, I'm just gonna watch them for this whole show. Just let them go ahead and go back and forth. But man, you're right. We can't make no moves until Jimmy gone, and it sucks because as long as he plays with the contract and he keeps playing it like day by day. And now they're like, oh, it might not go to training camp. Nah. We're not waiting till no training camp. You got to go because until then, there's no movement. He's taking a big chunk of that. And it allows us not to make too many moves. So
that's it. If he's right, if they hold off till the beginning of training camp, Tony, every piece on the board
is gone.
No, it's not coming to that.
And that's what I said. It's gone. Like he's a big piece. He's holding that key piece. That y'all cannot. That's why I told them earlier when we all sat there and we talked earlier in the text. I said, listen, just cut him. Just cut him. Like, because longer he stays, we're missing out on what we need. And then, like, just look at today. We just lost a lot of key pieces. There goes DJ Jones. And like you said, now we got to find a replacement for that. We got to find.
I think we knew, fam. I think we knew that DJ was going to ride. I think the writing was on the wall. We knew we couldn't swing it with him.
No.
I love them. I mean, we knew DJ Jones and Tomlinson were gonna go. We knew that.
Yeah, I don't.
That was
Yeah,
that was foreseen.
There were no surprises to anybody we lost today.
Yeah, I
It was
already
all-
saw. Yeah, I saw that one. Yep, I got it. Yeah, Mike. I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying there was no surprises to who.
I was just on my
We knew it was coming. We knew these guys were going to get paid, and we just couldn't afford them. But there's just going to be that sigh of relief once we get rid of Jimmy, and the floodgates are going to open because we're going to play the chess the way we want to play it.
Mike, that's not a sigh. I'm going to scream. It's not going to be a sigh of relief. Yes.
Listen, if you guys really want to be technical about it and really like think about this, DJ Jones should not have been a 49er last year. And the only reason why he was a 49er was because of COVID. Because the market dropped, the cap dropped, and nobody wanted to spend money because they weren't sure his season was going to be played throughout. So that is the only reason why K'Wan Williams was a Niner. DJ Jones, Jaquiski Tart, they would have all been gone if it was a normal market. And to be honest with you, the prices that are coming out today, Jacksonville paid Christian Kirk more money. He's like the fourth highest paid wide receiver right now. And he's done.
What is he, number 2 or number 3 on the roster too, right?
Yeah.
Number 2?
Like,
You're gonna pay $80 million to your number 2?
I don't understand why people listen, you don't win a Super Bowl in March. You don't win a Super Bowl in March. You look to add to your roster to get to the Super Bowl, but good teams don't win Super Bowls investing what Jacksonville just did in free agency. You don't build a powerhouse through free agency. Free agency is supposed to be supplemental. What you're lacking and you feel the draft is not deep in, you use free agency to fill those positions, right? Your core pieces want to be like your quarterback, your edge, your corners, your heavy investments, your left tackles. You would love to go through the draft and build that way because of the structure of the contracts, right?
Mhm.
We have Nick Bosa. I think he's on the books for $9 million this year or $10 million. The guy easily should be making 25. If he was a free agent, that's what it would cost the Niners if they wanted to sign him. But no, because they drafted him, he's under control due to the salary structure. And it's just like with Trey Lance. They have 4 more years with Trey Lance on controlled salary. 4 more years. So they're going to be able to – you think Jacksonville's spending money this year? Watch what the Niners do next year. If they want to add a big piece, they will be aggressive next year because they have the money. They're going to have the money because of the significant increase of the cap because of the TV contracts. They can't do it this year. And to be honest with you, this market, I wouldn't go batshit crazy signing these big deals to these guys. I mean, the Carlton Davis one, I think we could have swung, but J.C. Jackson got smoked versus Buffalo. He gave up, I think, 3 or 4 touchdowns in the air versus Buffalo. Josh Allen blew that defense apart.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he's good. He has a lot of turnovers, but it's the same thing as Diggs with Dallas. When we were in the playoffs, you would go in spaces. Diggs was going to lock your whole team down. I said to the guy, well, let me ask you something. How many picks does he have? He says 11. I said, all right. Well, how many yards did he give up? He didn't want to answer that question, though.
Yeah.
He gave up quite a few.
Yeah.
And then came to the game and gave up more.
He gave up the most yards in the NFL as a corner. Okay? Now, we're all Niner fans. We all know the 49ers just don't run straight routes down the field. You have receivers coming off of motions. They're getting clean releases. He can't get his hands on them. That spells for a disaster, in my opinion, for a corner like that. And what happened? Ayuk smoked him on one play. So, you got to pick and choose your battles when it comes to stuff like that. So, I mean, that's why I'm not mad in their theory of building this team from the inside out. Because if you have a team that has a deep defensive line that consistently can get pressure, your corners are going to be given opportunities to make plays on the ball, right? So if you constantly have that pressure and it's getting home and it's screwing with the quarterback, you don't have to invest the $15-18 million contract to a corner. You could invest $10 million, but you don't have to go crazy investing big money like what
Exactly.
Chargers did.
I agree, man. I agree. Once you get the pass rush,
I want to ask you.
Maverick, you want to go
ask you
ahead? You
guys
want to
a
say
quick-
something? Go ahead, say something, bud. Go ahead, say something, bud.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Yeah, to pick.
You're choppy,
One
bud. You're
receiver
choppy.
over there. Then who?
You're very choppy, Ramav.
Christian. If not the number one receiver, then who?
We can't hear you, bud. You're breaking up, bud. You're choppy, bud. Ooh. Mav, you still there? Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, you're very choppy there. You're very choppy.
They
That's
can
what I'm
hear
trying to tell you. You're in and out a lot.
Worry about it later.
I'm sorry, man. Hey, Ron, do you want to say something, bud? Go ahead, bud.
I joined late, fellas, but I was just
Okay.
listening to my man over here preach. But I definitely agree with everything he was saying. The one thing I do want to ask, though, there's no way that the 49ers saw this move by Don Yee coming, right?
No.
That's the
No.
thing. You see, that's the thing that gets me. The other thing I want to touch on is earlier you guys had said about the thumb and how we wouldn't want to pile on with an additional surgery on the thumb. But the thing was, they were the ones that brought up that potential surgery at the end of the year. It wasn't us. So I agree with you. It's like, what happened to the thumb?
Well,
They were the ones that said it, that it may be potential surgery after the season ends.
correct. But what I think they did was because of the length, the shoulder injury was more recent than the thumb injury. So what they could say is, well, the thumb healed on its own. The shoulder surgery is not a rotator cuff; it's a capsule injury. You know, they say it's a minor injury, but it's still to the throwing shoulder. So I just think they wanted to use something to, throw a wrench in the cog for the 49ers. They wanted to screw the 49ers. That's the way I see it. And, people tell me I'm negative. Oh, you're just a Jimmy hater. No, if they were really, truly on the same page and the shoulder really was a pressing issue, he would have had surgery a week after the end of the season or even 2 weeks. They waited months for this surgery. And it's not like it's a clean tear where it's an ACL or they shredded the knee. We'll just stick with the ACL. Like if you tear your ACL, you're not advised to get surgery right away. You have to wait for the swelling to go down. Then you get the surgery. Because if you jump into it right away, you have more issues down the road in the future with it. But, it's just, it's just a sneaky move. They got a hard on. They got pissed off. You think you're going to just drop my client like this? No. All right, we'll see. And
that was my question.
I was
That
going to
was
say
my
something.
question. That's what I
John, hold
wanted
on
to
one
know.
second, John. Hold on one second, bud. Hold on. Mav couldn't talk because it's a little choppy, so he wrote it up on here. If Kirk is not number one, then who is? And what does that contract mean to Davante Adams and the Packers?
Packers can't afford Adams.
You mean
put
Kirk
themselves in
going
position.
to? You mean Kirk going to Jacksonville?
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that's what he meant. Okay, yeah. That's what he meant.
Kirk's not number one. That Chenault kid should be number one, in my opinion. I think he's a
Yeah.
better, more physical wide receiver. And that contract, I didn't look at the structure of it and what the guarantees are, how it's broken down, if it's front loaded, back loaded. It's probably back loaded because I don't see them giving him that type of money up front, but it blows the price out of the water for not only Adams but for Deebo Samuel. I think that's
bro.
it's going to cost the Niners some significant money because of that contract.
I
Mike,
want to
you
know
wanna say
what
something,
did
bud?
what did Don Yee do? What is Don Yee's angle, bro? Like, okay, so why are you pissed at San Francisco? Is it because of the way that they wanted to the way that they wanted to release Jimmy? Is that what was the reason to get so spiteful and put it to San Francisco?
because the way the 49ers structured the contract that he agreed to and his client agreed to, there's no guarantee on the back end.
Mhm.
So they want more guaranteed money. So obviously, what are you going to do? Get me out of this contract, release me, I'll go get my client a new contract. And how do you do that? You ruin his trade market, right?
I mean, he
And-
fucked himself out of a trade market, playing like dog shit. You ruined your own opportunities, in my opinion. But I get it from a contract perspective. I see it. I see exactly what you're saying.
Let's
Sorry,
be real,
Ryan.
right?
I didn't mean to get crazy on your show, bro.
Let's be real, right?
We're after 7 minutes. Don't worry about it.
I jammed my thumb pretty good at work, right? And I couldn't do nothing. Like with this thumb, I jammed it. I didn't tear nothing. Like I hyperextended it and all. No break, no tear. I couldn't grab nothing for nothing. Like I couldn't even grab like my phone. It hurt to grab my phone. You're telling me this guy could whip a football down the field with no
Yeah.
issues? I understand they give you
Well-
those injections and those numbing agents. That's fine, but the shit wears off. The shit wears off, and you know, I just think it was a excuse for his poor play.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion because every time there was
It's
an issue,
mine too. I agree with you.
every time there was an issue, oh well, you know, his thumb was messed up. Oh, his shoulder was messed up. Oh, he did, you know, he jammed his thumb pretty good on that play. He landed on it, so there's always an excuse. And like, if you're good, you're good. If you're not good, you're not good. Don't try to make every excuse in the book not to be good. So, I mean, it's just frustrating because I got to be honest with you. If it wasn't for John Lynch, the former player, being the GM of this organization, they would have told Jimmy Garoppolo to go kick rocks. He's a former player. He knows what it's like with a contract, why they sign contracts, how they still can get their money. They brought Jimmy Garoppolo in and said, listen, we're going in this direction, but we want you back. We're willing to pay you your salary. We're not going to give you any type of pay cut. Come in. And all Jimmy asked was for, can I please get a chance to compete? Because he said that himself in a press conference once they traded for Trey Lance and Trey Lance was drafted. He said, all I asked him was for an opportunity to come in and compete. And they said yes. So now you're do this shit now to a team that kept you along, carried you through your whole career in San Francisco, hid your weaknesses, make you look like a good quarterback, got you to a Super Bowl, and now you're going to sit there and try to be your agent's going to do this shit? Come on, bro. That's
Bro, I think it was a toxic relationship after 2019. Shit, maybe even going in somewhere, you know. I think, look, Shanahan referred to Jimmy G in the offseason going into the 21 season. The references that they made, the way that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan approaching the draft shortly after they traded with Miami to the number 3 to get Trey Lance, they made reference. Now, this was before we knew who they were drafting. They just kept reiterating, we moved up to get a starting quarterback. And they must have referred to the draft pick as the starting quarterback. I mean, in discussion ad nauseum over and over and over, telling us that Jimmy wasn't healthy. Jimmy, you know, basically the opposite of how Shanahan was literally sucking Jimmy off every week in, week out for 17 weeks of football. It was pathetic. Like if Jimmy was playing like trash, Shanahan was like, I don't think he had a bad game. I think he did just fine. I think Jimmy did good today. Jimmy didn't do good today, Kyle. What the fuck are you talking about? You know, what are you talking about? Like, it bothers me that we heard Shanahan negative. I mean, Shanahan and Lynch conveniently speaking negatively about Jimmy going into the 21 season. And then the 22, and then we're here. We're through the season. We're struggling. We're coming out of the gate 3-5, and we don't have any problems with Jimmy. And Kyle is just making excuse after excuse because he knew we were right, Tony. I mean, you said it. Like, they're trying to get to amp up his value the best they could. But the matter of the fact was, you guys shot down. You guys have ruined the 49ers ruined the value of Jimmy all by themselves. You weren't gonna maximize his value at the end of this past season. This is bullshit. This has been a narrative. The narrative was that Jimmy G is not a good quarterback, and you made it known that Jimmy is not. His health is contingent. Like he's not reliable. Like his health, he's constantly injured. He's an injury-prone quarterback. You shot yourselves in the feet time and time again in the last 2.5 seasons. So don't stand here and say to yourselves, like I'm wondering, why can't we get rid of Jimmy? I know why we can't get rid of Jimmy. I mean, it's this and that we've mentioned, but at the same respect, the 49ers shot themselves in the foot because they enticed the narrative that Jimmy was an injury-prone quarterback. So they had to work, and it was actually pretty obvious what you were doing. It was obvious because I don't know of another franchise that has had this much controversy. Either it's always been there, and because I'm a 49ers fan and I'm not diving in to the controversies of every other 31 other teams, but this quarterback controversy with Trey Lance and Jimmy G has been fucking disastrous. I mean, it's worn me out. Tony, I know it's worn you out, bro.
So do we not think it was a collaborative effort between Don Yee and the 49ers to keep Jimmy's value up? I mean, like you said, so the second they drafted Trey Lance, they automatically decreased his value. They told us he wasn't a good quarterback. So that's why I
think it's before that.
After the Super Bowl, his value was like that's when I'm pretty sure everybody was done with Jimmy. So
I'll tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this because I heard this from a pretty reputable person. Jimmy, if the 49ers had an out after the Super Bowl, he would have not been back, and Tom Brady would have been the quarterback. Because that was the offseason that Tom Brady went to San Francisco, said there's no free agent tour. I want to finish my career with the 49ers, and the Niners had to say no because they could not move Jimmy's contract.
I wanted to say something real quick before you go, Ron. Mav gave me another thing. He said smoke screens all season long. That's what he said to me. So go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, so I don't know that it was a toxic relationship. I think it was a collaborative effort to keep I think the 49ers knew all along Jimmy wasn't worth a second. That's why they did what they were doing. But I think Don Yee just outplayed him. I think he's a damn good agent. I don't know if it's personal. I just don't think the 49ers saw that move coming towards the end. Like, oh, really? Jimmy's having surgery, is he? So that's why I'm like, I think they were, because like you're right. I believe Tony's point. Every time he had a bad game, he came out and said it was due to injury, and the 49ers allowed him to. They allowed those rumors to spread. They were like, yeah, okay, well, if that's what it is, that's what it is.
Yeah, they contradicted themselves at the podium. Kyle says one thing, then Jimmy's like, no, it was my. Kyle's like, I think he had like a thumb, and Jimmy's like, no, it was my shoulder, or it was the other way around, one way or another. Like, they contradicted themselves with Jimmy's deficiencies due to injury. I can't. Listen, man, I see where you're going with it, and you
calm down, John. Calm down.
No, he's right. I mean, there's validity to that. That's a valid argument, and I can't push back on that, man.
Because every time the injuries came out after a bad game, it didn't come from team doctors. It came from Jimmy's corner, and the 49ers didn't really do anything to squash the rumors.
Exactly.
So
I think it came from him himself. He was going back telling them. They was like, well, what happened? Well,
Mike, you want to say something, bud? Mike, you want to say something, bud? Go ahead. You good? Okay. So I thought you wanted to say something. Sorry about that, Drew. Sorry, man. He cut you off.
Oh, no, you all right. No, I was just saying, I mean, like Ron was saying, I think half the times it was actually him. Like, to them, they knew they had to try to keep a trade value up. And with that being said, if he just had a bad game, it looks bad. If I can come back and say, well, I was hurt this game. But other than that, when the wins came and he's like, oh, I look good in my wins, it keeps your trade value up. So that was the whole point of this whole thing, except for that's not what happened. So with every game, that was lost, yes, it was going to be excuse for every game.
Hey, Maverick,
Yeah,
you want to try your audio? You want to say something? Oh, he's still again.
I
Jeez.
think all the way up until the end of the season,
Ron.
Don Yee was like, all right, gentlemen, we'll take it from here. And then boom, we're going to dictate where Jimmy goes. You're not going to dictate where Jimmy goes. And I think Don Yee understands he has a marketable quarterback. And he also understands he's not a good quarterback. But Don Yee's job is to get paid along with Jimmy. So Don Yee's going to do what's best for him and his client. And therefore, getting Jimmy released is probably what's best for him and his client. That way it's on Jimmy's term. I got to give Don Yee credit, to be honest with you, because I think he outsmarted him and they didn't see it coming. And they spent the entire year trying to keep this dude value up. And boom, towards the end, we'll take it from here, fellas. I appreciate it. And that's exactly what happened. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think he outsmarted him. What I think was he got the last laugh. I don't think it was outsmart, because if you watch that interview from the combine between Peter Schrager and John Lynch, and once they said that, you saw the look on John Lynch's face. He's like, yeah, we just found that out today. Like that's some like grimy shit. I'm sorry, I don't cursing. But
It's all good. It's after 7 minutes, but don't worry about it. You're good.
that's some grind. That's like me saying I got the last laugh. Screw you. You ain't doing nothing. That was I have full control, right? And every objective is to get for an agent is to get their client paid the most. Why? Because that's when they get paid the most. The client gets more, he gets more. So, like I said before, you're not going to get a team that's willing to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo on 1 year, right? Here's 1 year. What does that say?
Yeah.
Rumors.
Maverick actually wrote something here real quick. Sorry, Tony. Hold
Tony,
on.
at whose expense? At whose expense is the surgery? Right? I mean, if this was a team doctors that decided that Jimmy needed
No, this is on
surgery,
Jimmy. I mean, it will go under. I think the team's insurance.
Okay.
Because he is still an active employee. They have an insurance policy on these players that were, like, they have health insurance coverage.
Sure. Sure.
So, the hell was I just going to say? Fuck.
Sorry, Tony. Sorry, I mean,
No, you're good. You're good. It's my fault. I just lost my thought.
I was just trying to say what Maverick said in the private chat. How true is this rumor about MVS close to deal with the 49ers?
That was from earlier. There's nothing confirmed on that yet. Yeah, so getting more money. So what's going to happen is, like, if you approach the Colts and say, listen, the Niners are looking for a second-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, but we don't want to give a second-round pick for a guy who's on the last year of his deal making $25 million, blah, 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 blah. We'll give you a fourth-round pick, and then we'll go from there once we get him, and we'll negotiate in mid-season. Agents might not want that. You know what I'm saying? They want to get the most guaranteed with a new contract. So that's why I think they did this, because they knew teams were going to lowball him because he was on the final year of his deal. So you throw the friggin' wrench in the cog, that you force the 49ers to cut him, and guess what? You can go wherever the hell you want because there's no compensation in return. You can potentially go to a better position to a team that does not have a second-round pick or a third-round pick, whatever, and you can negotiate a new deal. Because right now, if he goes somewhere and something happens, he gets hurt for the year, it's only $1.5 million is guaranteed. That's it. He wants more guaranteed. So by releasing him, you negotiate a new deal. That $1.5 million can go up to $20 million guaranteed over 3 years. And Don Yee's laughing all the way to the bank. He's got percentage off of $20 million guaranteed. That's what he wants, and that's why, in my opinion, I think they did this. People on Twitter's, say absolutely not. So then you tell me one reason why the Niners are still stuck with Jimmy Garoppolo then.
Hey, Mike, you want to go next, bud? You good? No, okay. Ron?
Man, I agree with these dudes 100%. I mean, it's good to see dudes see it the same way I see it, because that's exactly how I see it, man.
Drew? Jeez,
I think it comes down to Don Yee hard on, because every year since the Super Bowl, the Niners sniffed around quarterbacks. Every offseason. Brady,
It hasn't stopped.
After-
You're absolutely right. It hasn't stopped. And I mean, I've been waiting for the change. And then, like I said, when they did get Trey Lance, I thought that was the change, and it didn't. Trying to build a trade. I mean, they knew from, like you said, since the Super Bowl, there was quarterback issues. And it was something that needed to be situated. They were just trying to find the right situation. Couldn't do Brady. Got Trey, and I thought that was going to change it. They gave Jimmy more of the time to focus on him and try to build value. That they forgot that, hey, we drafted a quarterback where that was supposed to be making a move, to the point y'all risked a lot. Y'all risked draft picks. Y'all risked, enough that he should have been starting. But your focus ended up getting slipped into one thing, and that's why it gets to the point of now where people like me and Mike and anybody else, Ryan, we get frustrated because it's time for you to go. You wasted literally our season. You wasted time for the team or the fans it should have been a switch. Just like Tony just said, y'all been looking at this since the Super Bowl. So y'all been knowing this an issue, and somehow the focus just really got changed. Now it's time to get back to what it's supposed to be, get back to what y'all was focused on, get the trade done, release the man, and let's move on from it. Because, until then, it's a block. It's going to be a block. It was a block through the season, and it's still a block now. And like you said, Donnie is taking full advantage of this.
I think they were ready
Okay,
for. I think they saw this. They were ready for everything up until the point where he had a surgery, and I think that's when they were like, "Whoa."
Yeah, Maverick just says safety. Justin Reed signing with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
So yeah, me.
Well,
Yeah, buddy.
This is another thing. Like, people are willing to jump out and say, like, Lynch isn't aggressive. They aren't aggressive. They're this. I think they're probably one of the tightest run and tightest knit group front office probably in the league, right?
Mhm.
They go out last year. They give up 3 to go get Trey Lance. Now, just hear me out with this. But if you listen to an interview with Lynch on Matt Mayoko on his podcast, Lynch goes, before we agreed to the deal with Miami, we sat down with Ethan Waugh and said, we know we have in this draft class. How does this year's draft class look? 2022 referring to. There ain't no friggin' good quarterbacks in this draft class. They knew. They looked ahead. They planned accordingly. All right, so you know what? Send the deal over. 3 move up to 3. You pick your quarterback that you want. You get Trey Lance. Now, if you look at the flip side of this and how skilled this front office is, right? Let's look at their draft capital over the years. Last year, Robert Saleh got a head coaching job. Martin Mayhew got a GM job. So they got 2 third-round picks last year, a third-round pick this year. This year, McDaniel gets a head coaching job. He gets a third-round pick this year and one from last year from, I think it was Saleh. Now you have D'Amico Ryan waiting in the wings, who's probably going to get a head coaching job, with Rand Carthon, who's an up-and-coming GM. So you got potentially 3 more third-round draft picks there. You lose Laken Tomlinson to a huge deal. That's going to be another third-round compensation pick. You lose DJ Jones to a pretty damn good salary. He's probably going to be in the 4th-round range. So in 2 off seasons, they acclimated by the 2023 draft 5 third-rounders and 1 4th-rounders and free picks, just by manipulating the system of the NFL.
Did they see this coming? Was this premeditated, Tony?
Yes, absolutely.
They saw these cards on the table for the future.
So if you look at last year's draft class, right? Last year's draft class is tied to the 2022 season. Trey Lance, Aaron Banks, Trey Sermon, Ambry Thomas, right? 4. And I'll even go out in the stretch right now. Potentially a starting right guard in Jalen Moore. That's 5 from the 2022 class that was drafted in 2021 to be prepared to take over in 2022. So now you're going to look at this year's draft class. This year's draft class, I think maybe the number 2 pick could potentially come in and contribute, depends on which way they go after free agency and how they fill the roster using free agency. I'm going to say maybe the 2022 pick this year can contribute. And whoever they draft this year is going to be looking for the roles in 2023. They draft for the year ahead. So they draft in 2022 for 2023. Now look at the track record. Look who came on strong, like running with his hair on fire. Probably a guy that when I found out they drafted him, I almost rear-ended somebody driving because I got so friggin' excited. That's Juwan Jennings.
Juwan Jennings, JJ. I know who it was. I know.
He was drafted in 2020, and he's a key contributor due to injury. He missed 21, and look what he did in 22. So this team has the ability to align and plan everything by the year. So if you keep that up, and I'm not even saying you have to hit 50%. To be honest with you, they're hitting higher than 50% if you think about it.
Sure.
Right? Look at your draft class from 2021 to 2022. You're going to have potentially 1, 2, 3, 4 starters. 4 out of 8 picks, that's 50%. 5 starters. What am I talking about? So, they're very strategic. They're very planned. They protect themselves with their contracts, and that's why I think they have a little bit of issue with very high-end players that are looking to kill it. Like I knew right off the bat, J.C. Jackson was not coming to San Francisco because of the way the 49ers structured their deals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They protect themselves.
Exactly. Hey, Tony, how many picks do we have now altogether? Do you think? I don't know if anybody has a number or not.
This year, I think we're going to have 9. If we get 1 for this year, for Garoppolo, we'll have 10.
Okay. Yeah, we got 8 right now. We got 8. That's crazy. You asked.
What happened to number 9? What happened to 9?
We have 9. We have 9.
I think we have 9 this year.
I know we have 9.
I'm looking at it. It looked like it says you got a round 2, 2 round 3s, a 4, 5, a 6, and 2 7s.
I know we had 9. I had the picture of 9 too. I got a picture of all 9.
I gotta look at that.
Now, unless I can't count. I mean,
Now you right, because if that deal with the Colts fall through on the 2 2s and that 3 with the
That'll happen.
He cut out.
Sorry about that. I got you guys. I'm sorry. My bad. I was looking for it real quick. I got it right here. It's all 9 too. Put it up here real quick.
What I can't stand though is people playing these dumb jokes and friggin', my sources reporting, and they tweet it and
The 31.
Fucking worst.
Much
God,
better
is it ever the
31.
worst?
That dude
see
got everybody.
More bullshit.
That
thrown at
wasn't the
wall.
picks. I'm sorry, my bad. That wasn't the picks. I'm sorry, guys. My bad. That wasn't the right one. Damn it. I know it's in here though. Got a lot of stuff in here. Oh, I know I got it in here. Sorry, guys. My bad.
I thought we had 9 picks, man.
I know we do. I know we do.
I must have.
9.
We have 9. We do. There. Is that it? Or
I thought it was 8.
This talk about Frank Clark, like I can't even look.
The
at
answer is
that.
no.
Yeah.
I didn't want to see Frank Clark on this roster, man.
No, it's not it either. Sorry, my bad. Damn, where was I? I know I have it on here. I showed the guys before about it.
That's another thing as well, though. It's just like everybody that's available, they got to tie to San Francisco. It's like, come on, man. That's flipping annoying. If you know how they operate, that's not how
It
they do
is.
things.
It is, man. Twitter's got it. There's a lot of time.
Yeah,
to
you
fill,
got-
you know what I mean?
Real quick, you got round 2, 61 overall, round 3, 93 overall, round 3, a compensation pick for the coach, round 4, 130 overall, round 5, 170 overall, round 6, 186 overall, round 7, 251, round 7, 254, round 7, 260. So that's 9 picks. If they get a trade for Jimmy, they can get 10 picks.
Hurry up, Jimmy. Get up out of here.
Yeah, I found it. I found it, guys. I found it. I'm sorry.
And if
My
it's,
bad.
and if everything goes the way that it should, Tony, you know, do you sweat the picks, the capital that we gave up to get Trey?
There
I
you
mean,
go.
do you honestly sweat that?
Do I sweat if it doesn't work?
No, I'm saying like if you make 10 picks work and you hit above 50%, does it matter what we gave up to go up to get Trey? Because I know a lot of people still consider that a lot. If you value your draft picks for the future, you know, and I feel like with 10 picks, if you do this right, then I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not mad because we gave up what? God, I can't even remember now.
You gave up a first last year, a first this year, and a first next year, and a
Right, so we
third
gave up,
this year.
Wait, it was 3 first?
Well,
we-
they're
we-
original pick
we
because they
moved
moved up from 12 to 3. So they swapped. So that's 1. And then
Oh, okay.
2022, 2023.
All right, got you. I was about to say, wait a second. I thought it was only 2.
But
Yeah,
one of those
yeah,
is the
that's-
late
there's
first
some-
now, though. So
there's
that's
some
what's-
wordplay on that too, right? Because a lot of folks will say that was 3 firsts when you went from 12 to 3rd.
Well, that's what he was saying. I mean, I got that. What he was saying, like, okay, so you
Yeah,
switched.
there was some wordplay on that because I think a lot of people overplayed that and made it seem like, you know, the Niners were crazy for what they did. You know what I
Listen,
mean?
there's more to it, right? You know, again, it falls to how strategically balanced and successful this team is, right? You trade your picks in your first round, you save on your salary cap.
Mhm.
So instead of having, well, look where we picked this year, 29. You're not going to get shit in the 29th pick that Miami has in a weak draft. So you're saving $6 million right there by trading that pick, and you have your future quarterback. You're going to
Exactly.
save money next year, and it's still at the bottom, probably going to be at the bottom of round 1. So it's all about strategically, you know, lowering your expenses, being able to use that money to add more talent or extend players
yeah.
out to your roster.
Well played, fellas.
Everything's well thought out with this team. They don't just do shit to do it. They think of it. They look a year ahead. You know, they look at everything. They make sure, you know, they double check, triple check themselves. You know, it's just they're very specific on how they run things, and it's good in my opinion.
You see anything? Do you see Kinlaw getting moved in a package for anything? Could you see that? I
No.
personally don't want to see Kinlaw moved.
No.
I want to see
No.
him cleaned with his knee healed. I want to see him.
You know,
put
and that's
together.
another thing everyone discounts, right? Oh, DJ Jones is gone. DJ Jones is gone. Well, you have a first round pick that's coming off the bench right now who needed corrective surgery, went to Nick Bosa's surgeon and had the surgery. Look at Nick Bosa's turnout. And now he's going to come in and replace DJ Jones,
Yep.
right? So now, all right, you don't have the depth technically, but who gets elevated? Kevin Givens, a guy that this team is very, very high on, who Kasarik loves. Then you have Kentavious Street. They brought back Mo Hurst. You're going to add another guy in free agency or to draft. So they continue to stockpile talent and backfill, or should I say, replenish the roster with young and cheap talent. And that's your success. That's how you're successful. You know,
It's long-term success too. Yep.
the one thing where I will say this team never invested in and has not invested in since, well, I take that back. They've invested in corners, but it didn't work in their favor. The biggest name they went after, and it didn't even cost them much, was Deion Sanders in '94 when they won the championship. Several years after that, they signed 2 years after that, they signed Marquez Pope on a restricted free agent contract from the St. Louis Rams as a corner. He didn't pan out. He's more of a safety. Then they went to go sign Nate Clemens from Buffalo. They made him the highest paid corner in the league. That didn't work out. The year after that, where they went batshit crazy and started spending money that actually hurt them for not that season, but 4 years after that because of the way they structured their deals. They went out and signed Antonio Langham from the Browns, Irv Smith from the Saints was a tight end, Gabe Wilkins, who was supposed to be the next Reggie White from Green Bay, Winfred Tubbs, a linebacker from the Saints, who was better, supposed to be more faster than Ken Norton. So they went out and gave all these stupid contracts out, and they wind up cutting the guys after the second year. And that significantly ruined their cap to the point where they couldn't even sign a street free agent. So, off of past practice, obviously this front office wasn't there then. But, the track record when you just go batshit crazy in free agency isn't favorable. Not only with your team success, not only with your locker room, but financially, it doesn't always work out in your favor. So the way they do it, their tactics of building a roster now is probably it was most definitely the right way to do it, and they seem to be doing it right.
Yeah,
now we have to hope for the transition for Aaron Banks, right? From right guard to left guard.
Nah, I'd be honest with you, John. I think they said they were trying him the right guard to get him on the field and see what he could do earlier. But their plan was he was the replacement for Laken Tomlinson. They knew. I mean, they tried to probably work him in it right because I think he's a better guard. He could be a better guard than Brunskill once he's developed. Mm-hmm. But I just feel that, they knew Tomlinson's number was going to be astronomical. They knew it. They absolutely knew it. So what do you got to do? You draft, you sit him, you let him learn, let him lose a little weight. You put a full off season in the weight room. He builds that strength. And, now you have your starting left guard.
Did you want to go, Tony? Or you good? Or you want to go?
I can go 5 more minutes. That's it.
Okay. Well, you had to go that far. You didn't have to, man. But I appreciate you for doing it, though, man. I really do.
Yeah, no problem.
So, any guys got inputs? Any comments? Me, I just can't wait to get rid of them. So, and like I said, my guys on our chat, I'll take a 7th. I don't care. As long as it's out of here. It's going to drive it nuts for the next 2 days. It's going to drive it nuts.
It's going to drive you nuts, especially as long as they won 2 second rounds or whatever. He's 2 seconds win a 30. I think that's what you said. Listen, give me a 6, a hot dog, and a seat in the stadium, and y'all can have them.
I mean, listen, guys. I mean, don't. You're gonna get better value than a 7, Ryan. I mean, I know you're doing that sarcastically, but I mean, you're gonna get compensated somewhere. And this team has shown you time and time again that they in the later rounds they hit. So, I'm not going to be. I know that it's going to happen. I just don't know how long. Right? I mean,
what are you hoping for, John? What are you hoping for? What pick? What kind of
Jimmy?
pick are you hoping for? Yeah.
I mean, look. I think I'm hoping for a mid 3. I'm hoping for a mid 3.
Okay, John. Let me ask you something. Now you're a mid 3, right? As a GM, okay? So you got to know for a trade. And you see how everybody's taking the trade to the point it went low as Pittsburgh taking Mitch over him. Now, do you think that comes from what they last seen, also from his last game that he played, the mistakes he made, plus the automatic just out of nowhere surgery that's taking effect on things? So as a GM, how would you look at that situation?
Fam, you got to look at it as a collective, right? You have to consider the offensive line play. You've got to consider Compton towards that end at the end of the season. He was breaking down. They're not going to just look at singular Jimmy in those games. They're going to take everything into consideration, right? And if you acknowledge the offensive line play, I don't think Jimmy's final games are going to be the deciding factor that we get like a low 5 because it was X, Y, or Z. I believe that they're going to take it they're going to collectively continue to look at all the tape on Jimmy And if Indy does, in fact, value the quick release, Jimmy is one of the best to do it. I'm not going to make any excuses that I'm not going to argue that he can't, because we know that he can. We saw it, especially against Los Angeles, right? Jimmy got rid of the ball versus the Rams quicker than anyone. So there's a lot of benefit. There's a lot of things that Jimmy as a veteran can provide these GMs. I'm not gonna say that we get some butt crack capital because of Jimmy's final few games. I think Jimmy put enough out there this season, and he was reasonably healthy, right? So,
but at the same time, I get what you're saying. But the last part, what you just said, he put enough out there this season. That's what they was hoping for in the midseason by the trade draft. So you think the rest of the season could have altered something? Because that was the whole point, was to keep him until trade time and say, let's see what he can produce to make a good value of a trade. It didn't happen. So now we kept him for the regular season. So you telling me from trade deadline to the end of the season, he still put out something that can give you a late second or a mid third?
Yeah, because I mean, it's a numbers game, bro. I mean, statistically, Jimmy at some points in the season was ranked one of the highest quarterbacks in I don't want to say
rating.
Tony, what am I looking for, bro? What was Jimmy? Who was Jimmy in the top 5 quarterbacks? Who was he? Was it
Inefficiency?
It might have been efficiency. Thanks, Ron. It might have been efficiency. But I mean, I just, it's not an eye test for these guys. Like when they're going to value Jimmy and the compensation that we get, they're going to put the numbers to the test. They're going to see where Jimmy was most proficient. And the analytics behind it is Jimmy's not entirely, he wasn't terrible to the point where you're like, if you
no, he's not no Cam Newton or nothing like that. I'm just saying, I think
Jimmy put enough out there.
It's Tony, by the way. It's Tony. Some punk is Tony. Sorry to interrupt you there, John. Sorry.
I think there's a chance that San Francisco could get a mid 3.
Yes, you are.
From Indy. I don't know. I don't see. Look, they need a quarterback, right? And they're contending. So it's not like they're not building shit. Like they want to make the postseason and they want to make a push. And they know that Jimmy can get it done during the regular season. And I think that they believe that. I don't think that Jimmy's name wouldn't be in. I don't think Indy would be tossing around Jimmy if they didn't think he could get it done. My concern is, is Derek Carr a considerable factor in any of this? Would Derek Carr,
before we talk about Derek Carr, I'm going to flip the script on you real quick. As a GM to be interested in Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm not going to look at shit. I'm going to go to my coach and say, what do you see in this quarterback? What do you like? What do you want? What do you want to do with this offense? You want a guy with a quick release? That's it. It's Jimmy Garoppolo. I can give two shits about the film because he ain't going to run the same system that my coach is going to do. It's a different system. I'm looking for the basics. What does he do? What is his strength? And how could it transition to your offense? But what I will do is I'm going to hold that fucking surgery over your head. And I'm going to try to rape you because of that surgery. So if you think you're going to get the Niners could say, listen, we want a 2. We're starting talks at a 2 this year, or a conditional 2 next year that could turn into a 1 and a 3 or a 4 this year. Well, I'm going to be like, well, you can forget about the conditional 2 that goes to a 1 because he has a shoulder surgery. We don't know. He's not going to be able to throw till July. Training camp is in August. He can't get any reps with our receivers. He can't participate in any OTAs or nothing like that. Right? There's uncertainty. He's on the final year of his deal. After that, we're going to have to extend him to a larger contract to secure him and make what we give you valid for the return on investment. So we want to lock him up. So all that trying to figure out if he fits to this, no, that's the head coach's job. His job is to identify the strength of the quarterback, the missing part of the offense. Now, allegedly, the knock on Carson Wentz was he was a big baby. He wasn't a locker room guy. and that's what Jimmy offers you, right? He's a little immature. What he curses in his press conferences. Oh, hurt like fucking hell. Yeah, okay, good, but he wasn't an issue in the locker room, so you identify that. It's an upgrade over Carson Wentz. The second thing, he has the ability to snap the ball out of his hands. He probably has one of the quickest release in the NFL. Frank Reich, what do you want? I want to get the ball out of our hands quicker than we did with Carson Wentz. All right, so now that's +2 for me. So now I'm going to lowball you and try to come down to get you off a 2 and a potential 1 next year, and look to try to settle on a 3 with a conditional 4 that could turn into a 3. So 2 3s in return for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Hey man, Tony, you a GM hustler.
He's fucking good at it. He's good at it.
But no, seriously, but that's what they're doing. Their job, their identification and film watching has been done already. This is about identifying your guy, going to get him, and get him in at our price that we could be happy with without overpaying. Now, flip the script to the Niners. They're going to want to get the most in return. Well, you're telling me 3 and a 3. I'm not leaving a 2. You want to do a 2 this year and a conditional 3 that could turn into a 2. We got a deal. You extend them on your end, whatever it is. Well, will you eat some of the salary? Absolutely not. This is your guy. You move forward with him. So, there's a tale of both sides. They're both coming at it from both angles. So you got to try to find where that happy medium is, and you roll with it, and you just go with it. So, in Jimmy Garoppolo's case, the number one thing is the shoulder surgery. Everyone keeps saying it's minor. I don't give a shit if it's minor. The guy can't throw a ball till July. To me, that's a big issue. That is a big issue because you pass free agency, you pass the draft. Now, if there's something wrong and he can't throw in July, now you're screwed. So that's where the medicals come into play, and their doctors are going to have to rip apart his medicals. They're going to have to do a physical on him, make sure the mobility is there, make sure there's no scar tissue, make sure there's no loose fragments in the shoulder, whatever the hell it is. They have to, dot their I's and cross their T's as well. So I think that's what teams are doing. I think teams are lowballing the Niners, and they're holding the hostage of the surgery against the Niners.
Lowball us and question it, then why in the hell would Indy want to risk any compensation of any kind right now? Why would they even want to roll with Jimmy? Honestly,
because right now
they have no quarterback.
Number one, they don't have a quarterback, and he's probably the safest way to go, right? You get Jameis Winston, who's a ticking time bomb. He could throw 40 interceptions with 10 touchdowns. He could throw 40 interceptions and 43 touchdown passes. He's a nut. He's hot and cold. How does he handle adversity? That's one. You can't get involved with Deshaun Watson because they're not going to trade him within the division, right? They're not going to trade him within the AFC South. They don't want to face him twice a year. So who's left? They signed Mitch Trubisky. He's off the record. He's done. I can't see them turning the reins over to Marcus Mariota or Tyrod Taylor. So Jimmy Garoppolo is your guy. He does everything you want. He's good in the locker room. He snaps the ball out of his hand quick. So that's where we're at. That's why Jimmy Garoppolo is, in my opinion, probably not the best bet, but the safest bet for what they're looking for from what they had. Carson Wentz was a headache. Jimmy Garoppolo won't be a headache with Indianapolis when he gets a new contract and Don Yee's happy. So it's all stuff like that. It doesn't just barrel down to what wins and losses. It's more than that.
Yeah.
Holy
point.
shit, they got the same rug in my hand.
So
point.
Off the subject, kind of. I just seen something. They're talking about what the line will look like now, and got me kind of skeptical. It's Armstead, Kinlaw, Givens, Contavious Street, and Maurice Hurst.
I guess you saw it. I guess you saw that comment, Mike. Don't worry. I'm not gonna post it, man. Don't worry. I don't even want to post it even. Sorry, Drew. Go ahead.
I mean,
You're talking about the D line?
Yeah.
Who they have listed?
Armstead, Kinlaw, Givens, Street, and Hurst is what the line is looking like right now.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Where's that become?
I was going to ask you, is that trusting?
That's just the interior. That's the defensive tackles.
Yes.
So it's not the entire line. It's just the interior. guys.
Yeah, just like
It doesn't include edge.
No. So they're saying just like for the replacements, because they rotate anyway.
That's good.
So,
Yeah, I'm not
So,
going to hear a complaint. I think
this
we're
is why I'm
solid.
asking that. So now with that, do you still need to look at a free agent or a draft for that position?
I would, and I'm going to tell you why. I don't like two big defensive tackles. Both of them are pushing 6'7". Well, Armstead 6'7", and I think Kimball is 6'6". When you have guys that big, their pad level tends to play high. And that's why DJ Jones was so successful, because he was 6 foot on a lucky day, weighing 320, 330 pounds. So he was more of like a fire hydrant. Like he was a space clogger, a hole clogger, if you will. I do think the Niners will bring in that type of body to compete for that type of role. But they do have a guy, I think, by the name of Darian Daniels, who they signed as an undrafted free agent last year, who's very similar in size. He's 6'1", 6'2", 335 out of Nebraska. They gave him a lot of money. They kept him on his practice squad, and I think he's back actually on the active or start of the active 90-man roster. But they could add another body. Givens, I think, is a little too light in the ass to be that run plugger and fill the whole space clogger. But he is a penetrator, so he's something good off the bench in that aspect.
Gotcha.
Anybody got anything else? I got to shove off in about 5 minutes, so I'm sorry to break you off like that, guys. So, hey, Tony, thank you very much for coming here, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no doubt.
I know.
Thanks for having me.
I know it was the last couple hours or whatever, and you finally give me the answer. So, and John, I knew you had a busy schedule because you're a restaurant. So,
It's all good, bro.
Thanks for coming in, man.
Hey,
Thank you
I told
so
you,
much.
man. The pleasure's all mine. Thanks for having me, fellas.
No
I
problem.
enjoyed chopping it up with all of you guys,
Sure.
for sure.
Appreciate you guys, man.
Yeah, coming on, guys.
Ron, I enjoyed your company, man. It was
Yes, sir.
good. You had great points, man. Great
Yes, sir.
points. Tony, always a pleasure, brother.
Now you're crazy.
Look, I mean, do you guys have a favorite edge rusher before we bounce? You guys have a favorite edge that you want to pair up with Nick Bosa on the outside?
Jones.
That's
Exactly
it.
what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Exactly what I was gonna say. I was waiting for somebody to say Jones.
Chandler Jones, man. It's like, okay, so we didn't get to keep Tomlinson, and we didn't keep DJ Jones, so we're not getting a corner. Doesn't look like. What are we doing with it?
I think
I meant in the draft. Do you guys think we draft an edge rusher?
I think so too, but I would
Me,
like
look,
to see
me
them
and
look
Ron
at
just
Chandler.
talked about this. Ron, we talked about this a couple of days ago, talking about draft is where it's going to look like right now, because with everything going on and the money that's being held with the Jimmy and how everybody's getting picked up right now. Prime example, just look at today. Look how things went. So by the time, you actually get a chance to get to find people. I'm watching like the free agents just go down. I'm looking at who's left, like especially like what edge rushers they got. I mean, a sneaky one I think is going to be is Melvin Ingram. He played for the Chiefs last year, did actually good. He would be worth it because he's not really looking for a high price, but it'll be a sneaky grab. Nobody's really talking about it, and I mean, he showed out for the Chiefs. Even if you look at his stats in the playoffs, he had like in one of the games he had 2 sacks, and nobody was even like thinking about it. Let him go. So I mean, who knows how it goes? You can pick one of them, or you go straight to the draft. My thing is, it looks like the draft is going to be like their go-to.
It's a receiver-heavy draft this year, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But there's some studs in there. I mean, there's a rusher from the Buckeyes, Smith.
I think we need a center and a right tackle.
Wait a
too,
minute.
though.
He doesn't know my history. I don't care about no Buckeyes, man. I'm go blue all day. I don't care what edge rush is coming
I know
from.
it's all good. I mean,
From the
but
second ass.
you can't deny that we do not do not offer some edge rushers in the league, man.
Listen,
we
I had
do,
I had to really take it in when Bosa came, and they was like, he's a Niner now, and I was like, yeah, but for some reason that red still looks like Suckeye red. I don't know, man. I'll make it work, and then it just kind of grew on me. It grew on me.
Oh man, yeah, but Bosa's just when that happened, bro. That might have been one of my happiest. That might have been one of my happiest moments, bro. I'm telling you, bro. When I saw him transition from the Buckeyes to my Niners, I mean, my heart was full. I knew what we were getting. I knew what we were getting. I did too,
bro. And I was like, you know what? He beat the mess out of us that year, and I was like, man. I'm in a way, I'm sad happy. I'm like, gosh, man, he killed this now, but he's on our team this time. But still, I hate him.
Chandler Jones looks like, I don't know if I'm reading into the hype on Twitter, but Chandler Jones looks like, like he might want to be here, like he might want to be a Niner.
He did. He actually, I mean, I put that in a text earlier. They said that was an interest for him too. It was a mutual interest that they was both showing towards each other. So, I mean, they spoke to him because he's even showing his interest back. The thing is I think it's just more of contract talks. Just like how all of a sudden they was finalizing a deal with Gilmore and it is now 11 o'clock. And that I seen at 8 o'clock. And I'm like, there's no news. I mean, it's all about contract talks. It's all about what's going to happen and how can we move the pieces to make it fit right. And until then, I mean,
quick news. We don't have to worry about Frank Clark. He just re-signed with KC.
Wow.
That was some garbage. That was some hot goddamn garbage there.
Positive Niners not getting Frank Clark.
Before we hop off, guys, Maverick wanted me to say something to you guys. Sorry I couldn't really interact with the way I wanted to. Hopefully next time I could. My audio working right. Nice chopping up Niners football with you guys. Hopefully I can get my audio working right next time. No problem.
Man, technology sucks, brother. It was always a pleasure, bro.
Found it.
Hats off to you.
All
bro.
the way, man.
No
all the
sweat,
way.
Man. It's all good.
I want to thank you, Tony. Thank you, John, man, for coming here and chopping up, man. Thank you so much. Really.
No doubt.
And Mike,
brother.
Don't worry, I wasn't posting that stuff about your wife. I'm sorry. I don't do that kind of crap, man. I'm sorry. I don't do that kind of crap. So you guys, hey, thank you very much. I got to head off. Get my wife before she gets pissed off at me. But that's pissed off.
Oh, good.
Have a good night, y'all.
Family.
All right.
Good to see you guys. Take care. Tony, peace.
Have a good night.
Yeah, bud. Later, guys. Later.
John, I'll text you.
All right, brother. Later.
All right. And that was our show. And I know you guys are still watching me, but thank you for watching the Red and Gold 24/7 podcast with me and with us. And there's one thing I want to say right now before I get off here and do my stuff I gotta do. Let me see here. What was that? Hi, what do you think about the Broncos and Ryan? Do you have any food in your house? I got plenty of food in my house. And Broncos, they're actually my brother's second favorite team. He likes the Cowboys. So yeah, I got Cowboys in the house. Don't worry. But he likes the Broncos too. He likes the old John Elway days. So, and yes, I got plenty of food in the house. I do. Plenty of food in the house. And how do I mean by please Ryan? Do you know what that means? Some punk. I just want to say to you, bud. I don't put nothing about anybody's family on here. Anybody's about his wife or anybody. I'm sorry. I don't do that kind of stuff. I'm sorry. I have a wife too. And I don't like people talking, not smack, but turn a lady look sexy or whatever. I don't do that stuff. I'm sorry. I don't do that stuff. I don't play that way. I'm sorry. That's the way I am. Okay. So go Pack go. Yeah. Good luck to your Packers next year. Good luck to your Packers. Got Rodgers back, so you're good then. She was beautiful. Yeah, she was beautiful, yes. But that's the way I am, guys. I don't do that kind of stuff. Okay, got you. Okay. I have no problem you comments everything, Just don't talk about people's families, you know. But and yes, I'm gonna tell you right now, that way you know, the old podcast of Always Faithful 24/7 is gone. It is now Red and Gold 24/7. That's where we're sticking at. Okay. I'm very proud of this too. So I don't get major details about it, but it's gone. Now it's Red and Gold 24/7. Okay. So I want to thank everybody that was on here. I want to thank my crew, definitely. And definitely want to start with Maverick, Ron, and Mike. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on here. I know you have no time to talk, but I want to spend a major thank you to Tony and John V coming up on here, doing their stuff. Tony knows his shit. He does. Tony knows his shit. And I know John knows his shit too. That's the reason why on NBN, Nothing But Niners, Tony is called the residential GM. That's why they call him there for. Okay. So he knows his shit. So basically, and then I'm definitely going to get a shout out to our other two guys on ours. They couldn't make it, but Peter and Chuck. And Chuck wasn't available tonight. I asked him before we came on. He's not available tonight. So, all right. And Peter's having his family stuff, so I let him do his family stuff. And, you know, we'll see him next week. He said he'll be back next week. So, all right. So that was our show. And definitely people all the comments. Thank you very much for the comments. Thank you very much. So I got here before my wife puts me on the hit list. So, like I always say to you, I'm going to go out with a bang like I always do. All right. So here we go. All right. Now I got you straight now. We're good. And we're off, guys. And I'm going to try one more thing. My bad. Okay. Yeah, I gotta listen to my wife. I know some punk. I know. I listen to my wife. Always. I know. I always do. No matter what. All right. All right, fellas. People, we are out of here. And keep the faith. Never lose hope, guys. We're out of here. Later.
Here comes the